Hello crocheters! Welcome to Crazy Cool Crochet. My name is Sylvia. The finished product turned out to be something entirely different from what I had started with. And it turned out gorgeous! Which was a number 2 yarn, my trusty 4.25 millimeter hook, yarn needle, scissors. All right, we will be working with a multiple of 10 plus 6. And I will be working from a swatch just to show you the stitches. So my swatch was 36 chains. So 30 plus 6. So the first thing we're going to do is skip 6 chains. I'm going to make that last one again because it shrank up so much. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the next chain, work a double crochet. And yeah, this yarn does split, as you saw. Okay, there's a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the next chain, single crochet. Now chain 3. And skip 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now work a double crochet, chain 4, double crochet again into the same stitch. Okay, so now what we have done is created a V-stitch. And it is very unusual in the V-stitch to do the 4 chains in between the double crochets. It's usually 1 or 2. But for this, we're doing 4 chains. And now we're going to chain 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next one, single crochet. Chain 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do your V-stitch. So a double crochet, chain 4, double crochet in the same stitch, and chain 3. So there's how we're looking so far. And then we're going to continue across the row. So then you will skip and do your single crochet. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then single crochet. Chain 3. All right, now you're going to do your V-stitch, however, a little bit differently. So skip all the way over to the last stitch, work your double crochet, and this time only chain 2, and then double crochet in the same stitch. There's a little bit smaller V-stitch. Then chain 3 and turn. Now we are going to skip all the way over to that first single crochet and work a V-stitch. So you're going into the center of that single crochet. I hope you can see that. Work into the single crochet. So double crochet, chain 4, double crochet in the same stitch. Chain 3. Now in the center of the next V-stitch, single crochet. So under that 4 chain space, single crochet. Chain 3. Go to the next single crochet and work your V-stitch. Ooh, that was messy. Okay, chain 3. Now in the V-stitch, single crochet, chain 3. Now in the single crochet, your V-stitch. Chain 3. And single crochet into that last space and chain 5. Okay, so you can see the beginning of the flower there. And then turn. All right, now right into that first single crochet, work a double crochet. Chain 3. Now skip over to that V-stitch and do your single crochet and chain 3. And now once again, work your V-stitches into the single crochet. Okay, so for that very first stitch, that chain 5 and that double crochet there counted as V-stitch or a double crochet, and the chain 2 in between. And then you continue your pattern as usual till you get to the end. Now at the end of row 3, this is where it gets just a tiny little bit tricky. Okay, so we're going to enter our last V-stitch. Remember, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, into the first chain of that 3 chain space. Okay, so there's your 1, 2, 3. Start your V-stitch. We're going into that first chain of that space. Work your double crochet, chain 2, and your double crochet in the same space. And then you would chain 3. Okay, did you get that? Okay, so you did your last single crochet of the row, chain 3. And then we're going to enter the V-stitch into the first chain of that 3 chain space. I know that's kind of quirky, but that's the pattern. Okay, see there? And then you'll chain 3 and turn, and then for row 4 you will repeat row 2. So now you're going to skip over to that first single crochet and work your V-stitch. Chain 4, remember? and then chain 3. Okay, so you work your V-stitch with the chain 4, and then into that previous V-stitch in the space, do your single crochet. This is coming back to you, chain 3, and then V-stitch in the single crochet over here, V-stitch over here. Don't forget your chain 3s in between. So the only time you're working with chain 4 is with your V-stitches inside the body. The V-stitches at the end of the row, you only do a chain 2. So that's it. And then the next row, you'll repeat row 2. So you're just repeating, you'll repeat row 3, sorry. So you're just repeating row 2 and 3, 2 and 3, until you get to the length, or as many rows as you need. So for my panel, I did 23 rows. So the easiest way to count your rows is to start with a single crochet on your first row. Okay, so of course in the first row you've got your V-stitch, single crochet, V-stitch, single, okay. Find a single crochet in that first row. That's row 1. Row 2 will then be the V-stitch. Row 3 is the next single crochet. Row 4 is the V-stitch. So if you start with the single crochet as row 1, then every V-stitch is 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. I'm off camera here. And then I ended with 23 rows. When you complete your last row of your panel, it does not matter which row you end up on, except that when you get to that last stitch, only chain 1 and then turn. Now we're going to change it up. We're going to do a completely different pattern for the rest of this panel. So what you're going to do is start with a row of single crochets. And the only thing you need to be mindful of here is that you end on an even number. Now my suggestion is to start with to work with a single crochet, one single crochet into the single crochets below. Okay, so there's one single crochet. And then into the 3 chain spaces and the 4 chain spaces, work 2 single crochets. Okay, so here goes 2. That was a chain 3 space. Here's a chain 4 space. So work 2 single crochets. Here's another chain 3 space. Work 2 single crochets. Now there's a single crochet, so work 1 single crochet into the single crochet. And then 2, and then 2, 2 again, 1, 2, 2 single crochets in there, 2 single crochets over there, and then count. When you get to the end, count how many single crochets you ended up with. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I need to do one more because I need to end on an even number. Okay, so I'm going to choose to enter one more into that last space. So now I'm at 22. Okay, so we're just establishing a foundation row here of single crochets. Okay, now keep in mind as you are working your single crochets, because the panel is going to obviously be much longer than the swatch, you'll want to watch that you are spacing your single crochets as evenly as possible. So doing it the way I suggested should work out fine, but be careful. If you are adding too few single crochets, this will begin to buckle. If you are adding too many, this is going to ruffle. So just take care that it's fairly even. All right, so at the end of that single crochet row, chain 2 and turn. Now here's where the stitches get really fun. I really love this stitch. Okay, so we're going to skip that first little stitch right under the turning chain and into the next one start a single crochet. Okay, so grab your yarn for 2 loops on the hook, pull through 1 loop. Now yarn over as if for a double crochet into the same space, same stitch. Now you have 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4 and then chain 1. Okay, so we're going to skip the next stitch and repeat. So start as if for a single crochet, 2 loops on the hook, pull through 1. You still have 2 loops. Grab your yarn in the same stitch, pull through for 4 loops on the hook. Pull through all 4, chain 1. Skip 1 and repeat. 2 loops on the hook, pull through 1, 2 loops on the hook remain. Grab your yarn, pull up, 4 loops, pull through all 4, chain 1. Skip 1, 2 loops, pull through 1, grab your yarn, pull through for 4 loops, pull through all 4, chain 1. Okay, skip 1, skip a stitch, pull through 1 loop, grab your yarn, pull through 4 loops, pull through all 4, chain 1. Okay, so do that till you get to the end. So at the end of that first row of your cluster stitches, you're going to have 2 stitches left. So skip 1 as usual and work your last cluster into that last stitch. Chain 2 and turn. Okay, now this will be your repeat row, where you are going to go into each cluster stitch and work a cluster stitch. Okay, so they're going to be worked on top of each other. Now where we enter our stitch is to the right of that single bar there. Okay, so the space is pretty obvious when you start working. Okay, so enter into that first little space there and work your cluster as usual, for lack of a better name. Pull through the 4 loops, which I just messed up, chain 1. Skip over to the next cluster. There is your space. See that bar? Okay, so enter to the right of that bar. Chain 1. There's the next one. So that's all you're doing. So easy. But I think it's quite fun. as crochet stitches go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so just continue that to the end. And you will enter your last cluster into the last cluster of the row. There's your bar. She'll be working into here. Chain 2, turn, and repeat. So just keep repeating. And here's a little sneak peek of what that portion of the panel will look like. To steam block the floral portion only. That's all you need to block. I put a towel underneath, then the panel, then a pillowcase. Now I have already stretched this out the way I want it to sit. And then the very bottom, the first row, you're going to have to use your fingers to manipulate that after it has been heated up. So I take my iron, and that's all it takes. And I did go ahead and press on the pillowcase very, very lightly, very quickly, and we're done. The next thing to do after you have blocked the bottom, the floral portion, and really, if I didn't make it clear, it's just the first row at the bottom that will need to be blocked, just to straighten out that first row. Okay, now after you have done that, you're going to take your 2 panels. Oops, I've already done that one. You're going to take your 2 panels, put them right sides touching each other, wrong side up, and we're going to seam the shoulders first. So decide where you want or how wide you want your neckline opening and place stitch markers. I've already seamed this side, and this is about 11 inches wide. So you're going to take your yarn needle, a length of yarn, and attach it to your 2 panels at the cornermost stitches. I always do a knot here, or I tie it off. And then you're going to just use a simple whip stitch. So you're just going to go from back to front, go under 2 strands always when you're seaming. That'll give you a stronger seam. And then go back around to the back. And then to the front. And that's it. So just go back, to the front, and pull it through. When you get to the end of, or when you get to your stitch marker, go ahead and tie off the yarn. Make sure that you come over your stitches, I'd say about 1 inch, and then seam or weave that leftover tail however you prefer. You will seam the side the same way. Okay, so now this time you're going to decide how wide you want your armhole opening and put your stitch marker. The easiest way to do that is to, after your shoulders are seamed, throw this on over your head and then decide where you want your armhole opening. Put your stitch marker, start seaming. I usually do from the bottom up. Do the other side, and that's it, you're done. Now I'm going to leave it up to you. If you want to finish off the bottom a little bit more, You can go ahead and put in like a row of single crochets. I'm not going to do that because I want to leave this looking like a little more delicate. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Thank you so much for watching. In case you missed my note at the very beginning, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. I'm currently at 72,000 as of this tutorial. If you are not yet subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you would. Excuse the screaming kids in the background. It's summertime and they are enjoying themselves. Please, a thumbs up if you like this one. Leave a comment. All these things are super helpful to the channel and I truly appreciate you. We will see you on the next project.